Thank you for coming today. And we are going to be looking at communication protocols for the workplace. All right. We're just going to do a little getting acquainted activity. And all I want you to do is to just say your first name, your position at work, and answer this question. Would you rather travel the world for a year, all expenses paid, or have $1 million on whatever you want, paid on whatever you want? And we're just going to go quickly throughout the room, and you can give us feedback so that we can get a little warmed up, all right? Who wants to go first?
Hi, good day.
Good day. Who's that?
I am
Julian?
Julian
Yes.
Williams. Sales professional, position at work. Would you rather travel the world for a year? I'd rather travel the world for a year with the $1 million. Thank you.
No, Julian, you can't. You want to travel the world with the $1 million?
With the $1 million.
Okay. All right. All right. Great. Next person who's going to share with us.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ian. I am an inspector with you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead, Ian.
Right. I am an inspector with the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority. I would rather travel the world for a year, all expense paid.
Why, Ian?
Because I love to travel.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you for that. Next person. So we're going to want participation this afternoon, all right? It's a short session. We have a lot to go through, but we're going to just do this little exercise quickly before we go into the session. So any other person to share?
Good afternoon. I'm Tanisha.
Sure. Thanks, Tanisha. Go ahead.
I would rather travel the world.
Okay, and what is your occupation, Tanisha?
Receptionist at Kinetic.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Good afternoon. Opal Johnson here from GDI.
Yes, Opal. Thank you. Go ahead. Hello? Seems we may have lost Opal.
Are you
Opal,
hearing
you're back?
me?
Yes, hearing you now. Yes.
Good afternoon. I'm from GDI, and I would rather travel the world for a year, all expense paid, because there are a lot of places that I need to see, and they are all expensive. So that being paid, I would greatly appreciate that.
Okay. All right, Opal, thank you. Anyone else?
Good afternoon, everyone. My
Mario.
name is Mario. I am a sales professional, and I would choose to travel the world, all expense paid.
All right, thank you, Mario.
No problem.
Next, anyone else? Anyone else wants to share quickly? No one else? Okay. All right. We're not gonna tarry too long here. We have a lot to go through. All right, thank you so much. Did I hear a voice? No. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Thank you so much for sharing, participants. And so whilst we are excited about the money and we want to travel because we have not done so in a while and we need to see places, there are things that we're going to expect, and we're going to be expecting relaxation, right, as we travel, and we're going to be expecting to be served well as we travel. And while we travel, there's going to be a lot of communication in many different ways. And this should enable us to enjoy as we travel, right? So it's an experience like everything else. And all of this, there is a level of communication that is going to be needed. And that communication has to be effective in order for us to understand and be aware as to the environment in which we are, the culture, etc. So we can see where communication is going to be very, very important as we travel to our different destinations in order to be happy and relaxed, right? So as we go into the presentation, there are some rules. We're expecting you to participate and ask the questions, of course, in relation to your phone. It has to be on silent. And if you need to use your phone, you may just just indicate that you may have to leave the room for a little bit, because we understand how we operate in this environment. All right, we support each other as we go through, and we listen and we share. Okay. Now, I'm going to share a general question, and I'm expecting feedback from you guys. What is effective communication? What do you believe effective communication is? And we all have our different ways of expression. And so I want to hear from persons within the team. What is it that you believe? What is your definition of effective communication? And we're all sales, well, you have some salespersons here, and of course you'll understand how critical effective communication is. Can I get a response from someone? Maybe Jody or Mario, who is a sales professional. What is it that you think effective communication is? Because you have to do this every day. This is how you live. This is your bread and butter. And if you're not communicating effectively, you're going to have a situation and it's going to impact on your earnings, I'm sure. So share with us your definition of effective communication.
You can speak clearly, listen to what others say, and also maintain eye contact when the person is in front of you.
Okay, thank you. Not sure who that was. I'm not sure. Jodianne. Okay, thank you so much, Jodianne. Not seeing that. Thank you so much, and you're correct. So that is, I would say 80% of it. There is another key point also that has to be included, but let me hear from someone else before.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sorry, hold on. Hi, my name is Shalian, and I think effective communication is that once the person you're communicating to can understand and exchange ideas, I think that's effective communication.
Okay,
once the person understands what you're saying clearly.
Right. Thank you so much for that. And you said something, you used a word, and you mentioned exchange. And that is so important for us to note, because what it is that it's an exchange. The process requires feedback, your ability to listen well and give feedback to the person who is speaking. And they in turn is also going to be listening to you and responding. So it's a two-way process, right? And a key element in the process is listening and, well, listening and giving feedback. All right. So if you it's not just one person talking. And so as we proceed, in order to ensure that there is effective communication, I'm going to be sharing, you're going to be sharing, you're going to ask a clarification, questions. I'm going to ask you questions as well. So to ensure that we understand the topic being discussed, right? So it's going to be a two-way process in order to ensure that there's effective communication, right? So then, anyone else want to share? Maybe there is something else that we may not have touched. All right. So this is and we just mentioned, this is the definition or one of the definitions of effective communication, process of exchanging ideas. And we just spoke about that, opinions, knowledge, data, in order to ensure that the message is received and understood with clarity and purpose. And that is effective communication. And clarity, you have to, how are you going to ensure that there's clarity? Of course, another exchange, asking questions. Another way is observing the body language. That is a way to communicate your level of understanding. You know, you shake your head and how you move any part of your body to indicate to the person that you are fully aware as to what they're sharing with you. The sender and receiver are both delighted when communication is successful. There are many different ways to communicate, including written, visual, and auditory. All right. Now, there are different types of communication, and we're not going to go into everything, but just to say that generally, we have upward communication, downward communication, business communication, and informal communication. I want someone to tell me what is that they think upward communication is. What is upward communication? And these are types of communication that exist within the workplace. And so we have to be aware in relation to the different types, right? So what do you think upward communication is? Anyone?
All right, Ian Shine here. Would it be when a message is sent from, say, a team member to his or her superior?
Right, very good. Thank you for that. So it's upward communication, the team member or the reportee sending a message up to his or her supervisor, manager, etc. So that's upward communication from the bottom up, right? The other type is downward communication. And of course, it's clear, right? So downward communication would have to be from the top down, right? And so that is coming from where? Where is that coming from? Anyone?
From the manager or the CEO.
Manager or the CEO or your supervisor, right? So that person is communicating down to the subordinates, right? We also have business communication, and what would that encompass? The business communication. We are all in different types of working environments. Business communication, what would that comprise of? Anyone?
Letter writing and those things in front, miss.
Sorry, so we may have to show our hands when we're going to speak, so that we are showing a level of respect for each other, and we are aware. So that is another type of communication. So we're going to raise our hands, and I will acknowledge. So go ahead. Who is it that was going to share?
So I was saying like emails and so forth. I don't know. I'm just trying.
Yes. So that's one type. Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. So it includes email messages, and we look at that later on in the presentation. So you talk about your business letters, right? Your email. Business communication is going to encompass your communicating on the telephone in the environment in which you are operating, right? So that would be, those would be the examples of business communication. So your emails, your letters, your memos, memorandums that you would write, memorandum, and the way of communicating on the telephone, right? Some places of work would have SMS messages being sent out to their public. And so that is another form of communication within the workplace. And so you have to be mindful as to how you construct those SMS messages as well. Informal communication, anybody? Informal communication? Informal communication. So it's just a general communication with your peers, family members. It may be the grapevine within your organization. That is an informal communication link as well. All right. So we're going to just look at a few. We just look at upward and downward for the most part. And as we said, messages which go from subordinates to supervisors or higher levels, right? Information moves upward from the downward direction. And this is what upward communication is. And it can be written as well as oral. All right. And this is just a demonstration in relation to upward communication, which is interpersonal communication in the workplace. And it goes from the worker to the supervisor, and it may move to the next level, which is your manager, and to the next level, which would be your CEO, right? Now, before I move to the next slide, and of course, I'm expecting to hear from persons as we go through the presentation. There are advantages and disadvantages of this type of communication within the workplace. And I want you to think about it and tell me what are the possible advantages that would be achieved in relation to the practice of upward communication within the workplace. Upward communication advantages.
Good afternoon, Dr. Allen. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm hearing you clearly.
Okay, I've been trying to use the raise hand feature, but this is the third time I've raised it. And I guess you're not seeing it on your side.
I'm not seeing
myself as well, Earl. Myself as well.
I'm not seeing the hand, but go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So what are the advantages of